One at a time, and we'll get the job done. Y'all know what to say. On three. 1, 2, 3.
And the home of the Jets.
Good evening, everybody. The Tuesday following the Jets season ending at 3-14. This may be the first show with me and Ian that he will not be ready for my chaos. I honestly don't think that you're going to be ready for my energy tonight because things have changed suddenly in the world of the NFL. And this downtrodden team could do something bold, Ian, to change their future. But before we go into that, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. The season's over. So we have stuff to look forward to, draft picks, cap space. By the way, am I lagging at all?
You're good.
Good. Okay, cool. Yeah, hopefully the connection just gets a little bit better. But yeah, man, I'm good. You're watching the Darren Muji, Aaron Glenn press conference today, and really not a whole lot you can really take from it, right? Just like a lot of coach speak. We're all hoping to develop and get better moving forward, and we got to look at ourselves in the mirror. Just kind of all like not a ton of stock that you can really put into it, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what moves the Jets make. DC, maybe a potential head coach. I know you want to talk about it, but yeah.
Here's where we got to go. We got to start with. I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, but this has to be said. The New York Jets, as they currently exist, are the laughing stock of the NFL. They are downtrodden. They are dazed. They are confused. They have no accountability. They have no credibility. They have no respect. They have no leadership. They have no guidance. They have nothing right now. You know what they are? They're the 1996 New York Jets. And you know what the 1996 New York Jets did at their Kotite? They had to swing big, swing bold, and make an organizational changing move. And they brought in Bill Parcells, a move nobody thought they can do. Today is the same exact day for the New York Jets. When John Harbaugh becomes available, you have to say, I don't care about Aaron Glenn's feelings. I don't care about money. I don't care about this. I care about winning. I care about showing my fans that we're for real and we're tired of being the same old Jets for the last 15 years. I don't keep everybody can find an excuse why things can't happen. This can't happen. That can't happen. You reach out anyway and you make this move. Because Ian, this changes everything, dude. It literally would change everything from the New York Jets. Instant credibility. You have a guy that's won a Super Bowl, 6 division titles, 13 winning seasons. You have a guy that changes instant respect, instant credibility, the face of the franchise. Players will want to come here. It changes literally everything. And what do you want to offer him? Here's what you offer him. You have all this draft assets. You have all this cap space. You give him full control of your entire organization. Here you go, John. You know what? There's a lot going on. Giants, this and that. You can do whatever you want in this organization. You want to bring in Todd Monken? Cool. Want to bring Lamar Jackson? Fine. You want $25 million a year? Fine. Desperate times, desperate measures. This is an absolute slam dunk, no-brainer for the New York Jets. I don't care about the Giants, the Raiders. I don't give a shit. I don't care. This is the kind of move you make. This is the Mike Vrabel move. This is your Sean Payton move. This is the type of move that changes the history of your organization like that. Not worrying about Aaron Glenn maybe finding his way after 2 hours of self-reflection. Not Darren Muji saying, oh, you know what? I've been doing my due diligence. And nobody cares. I want to win. This guy's winning, dude. This is it. And it's not the easiest thing to do, but you have to reach out. You got to see if he's available, if he's even interested. If he's willing to even talk to you, you fly there tonight and you get there and do this. Dude, seriously. And everybody, oh, you're just being a stupid Jet fan. No. This is that important of a move for the state of this franchise where you have to at least pursue it. I don't care about Aaron Glenn, dude. I don't care.
So I pretty much agree with everything you said. The only problem is, what if Harbaugh says, I'm not interested?
You move on. Fine. But to not even reach out, to not even show interest, but you reach out and be bold. Listen, man, like you see in the chat, blank check. How much money do you want to come here? Money it's no 25 million a year, highest paid coach ever. You want 1% ownership? Okay, fine.
So again, I agree with you. 100% on board. John Harbaugh to the Jets
Slam
makes
dunk.
them instantly respected, way more credible than they currently are. I mean, what I don't know if anybody's, a Jet fan is looking at Harbaugh saying, "Man, that guy's terrible. He's worse than Glenn." I don't think there's one person in the world that's saying that. And yes, you could approach Harbaugh and say, "Hey, what will it take to get you here? Do you want to be the highest paid coach? Sure. Do you want full control of the team? Sure. Do you want to hire your own front office? Sure. You want to do this and that, just like you mentioned, bring, entire say of the coaching staff, all that stuff. You can put it out on the table. My question is, even though I like John Harbaugh more than a couple of these coaches I'm about to mention, my question is why maybe the Jets haven't done this before when we actually sat down last year with Mike Vrabel. And again, I prefer John Harbaugh over Vrabel, but
So do I.
you got to imagine, okay, well, if Vrabel is that freaking dude, then if the Jets were in this kind of mode where they're so damn desperate to figure it out, and I guess to be fair, we did have the 33rd team running the show last season, and now, if it's Woody Johnson on the phone and he's on a private jet out to Baltimore, I'm assuming, to go meet with John Harbaugh, a little bit of a different story, right? If Woody's walking your home with a blank check compared to like a consultant, and then they're getting back to ownership, and there's this, kind of, maybe not necessarily delayed process, but it's, it's a pretty damn big deal if an owner walks into your house and says, "I will do whatever it takes to land
100%.
you," and presents a great pitch, to land that candidate. But not only Mike Vrabel, but Mike McCarthy as well. If news came out last offseason or this offseason that the Jets are going to be firing Aaron Glenn and they're going to be hiring Mike McCarthy, and it does come out that the Jets are making McCarthy the highest paid head coach in NFL history, I am not going to push back on that.
Well, there's two things. Mike Vrabel was a Patriot. He's a lifelong Patriot, always loved the Patriots. That's where he grew up. That's what he learned. That's what he loves. He kept his connections all the time. So that was where he always wanted to be. If the offers were even, he was going to the Patriots. That was where his heart was. That's the first thing, right? Second thing is Mike McCarthy, the Jets already screwed him over 2 years ago when they hired Gase instead of him. So you've already alienated him. Like the Jets with certain coaches have already alienated him by not hiring him in previous processes and going in this direction. So last year they took Aaron Glenn because a lot of guys said no, because what are you offering him? You didn't have a lot to offer him. Now you have the number 2 pick in the draft, dude. You're loaded with draft picks for the next 2 years and tons of cap space. This is easily the most marketable time for this Jets coaching position ever. This is the most marketable time because now you literally can give this head coach whatever he wants with so much power as you're rebuilding your entire roster. You have no quarterback. You have none. You have some skilled players. You have this. This is truly your mold. It's your pile of clay. Here you go, dude, and be well paid to do so. This is the perfect time to make this move. There's no other, unless number 1 pick in the draft. This is it, dude. This is your time to shine, Woody Johnson. Get off your ass, wake up, and realize this could change the direction of your team. It can. It's that pivotal of a move that they can make. And to stand pat and be like, we like Aaron Glenn, it's just poor. It's foolish. It just would reiterate how incompetent they really are.
Well, again, I agree with a lot of pretty much what you're saying here. Again, Harbaugh being the obvious upgrade and whatnot, but let's be honest, right? There's a reason why literally 45. This is not made up here or hyperbole. 45 minutes after John Harbaugh was fired, according to Adam Schefter, at least, 6 or 7 teams reached out to Harbaugh. There's a reason for it. He's a damn good coach, right? Yep. And also, for what it's worth, Baltimore, they've had a couple of early playoff exits. Mm-hmm. You kind of, obviously they kind of choked the game against Pittsburgh. They had that in the bag, couldn't get it done.
The kicker choked.
Well, yeah, but like they shouldn't have, in my opinion, they shouldn't have even been in that position to begin with. Like they were just mistake after mistake, just riddled throughout that game. And I am personally excited to see what direction Baltimore goes in. Do they hire Jesse Minter, who was, previously with Baltimore and is connected to the Harbaughs. Do they maybe go with the Brian Flores? I've seen a lot of people talk about Flores to the Ravens to kind of just get the defense right. I actually saw, I think it might have been Diana Rossini who reported that Cliff Kingsbury is like in play to become the Ravens OC. So like a lot of things are happening. But if you're John Harbaugh, like this is, again, I agree with you. We're on the same team, but what happens if John Harbaugh is looking at his list, looking at all these teams, Cleveland, the Giants, the Titans, all these squads. And by the way, there's a team out there that has not fired their head coach. They might, the Bucks. I think if the Bucks move on from Todd Bowles, and you can argue, hey, look, if we want to cut bait with Bowles and bring in Harbaugh, that is a pretty good destination for John. But if John is looking at the list of all these openings and says, Jets, you are 6th or 7th in my list, and I will get to you when I get to you, that I think could be a potential problem. But the pushback is, well, we're moving on from Aaron Glenn. We're not letting go of an established 10-win coach. We're moving on from a guy that a lot of people want gone anyway. So there is that benefit, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you can make the same case for Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins. The Dolphins could be like, you know what? We got Mike McDaniel, but now him, when you're hiring a new general manager, get him out of here. You get McDaniel out, you bring John Harbaugh in. There's a lot of teams right now that have a coach in place, but you know what? This guy is a legit upgrade from what we have. We've got to at least explore it. And that's my point with this. Make him a legit offer that at least gets his attention. Listen, we're serious, man. Because you're not doing due diligence. You're not serious about winning if you ignore this in favor of a guy that's clearly in over his head. Aaron Glenn's in over his head. And it's a talking point all throughout the NFL, not with just Jet fans. You have broadcasters, analysts, every talking head in sports is mocking the Jets for the coaching job this year and the actual state of the organization. Everybody is. And you watch a press conference today, and their blueprint is hope. Trust us, we have a plan. Don't know what it is yet, but trust us. We've never done it before, but trust us. I'd rather go to a guy that's been there, done that. Now, people trying to discount John Harbaugh's accomplishments. Do you understand the state of the Jets right now? Like, we're the worst team in the NFL. This guy would be light years one of the best coaches in history of the organization. The first day he comes here, he's probably the best one here, minus Parcells. He's that good because you're bringing winning, credibility, respect. Players are going to actually want to come here. You look at right now going into this offseason, the two biggest questions are, can the Jets get a legitimate defensive coordinator with a coach on the hot seat? Can they get players to want to come here with a coach on the hot seat and 15 years, no playoffs and a lot of losing? Can you do all these things? You bring a guy like this, problem solved. It all changes, dude. And for Woody Johnson, your selling point, dude, you can sell tickets. Shit, I'd go to games next year. You bring him here. It literally changes your entire fortune of your organization, and you can't ignore it. There's no way you can ignore it. Again, I understand it's a long shot. I'd rather take the long shot. There was a day, because I'm old, dude. In 1996, I kept telling my girlfriend's father, Parcells is coming to the Jets. Bro, you're out of your mind. That's never going to happen. He'll never do it. He'll never embrace it. It happened. Things can happen. We get surprised every day in sports where the unknown could actually happen. Why not the Jets make a shot? Take that shot, dude. You have to.
Yeah, I mean, what's the Gretzky quote, right? You miss every shot you don't take. Like exactly. Obviously the Jets have got to reach out. Obviously they have to reach out, and here's the cliche term, right? Do your due diligence. But I think another issue here that we have to talk about, literally every team that does not have a 1000% solidified answer at head coach is having this same exact discussion. Yep. You think Titans fans right now are pumped that Harbaugh got fired? Hell yeah. Giants fans? Oh yeah, they're saying the same thing. Yep, Cleveland. And also another thing too, if let's just throw out some hypotheticals, right? If Buffalo loses to Jacksonville, could Sean McDermott be out? And could the Buffalo freaking Bills be open as a head coaching opportunity? Could John maybe want to wait a week and just say, hold on a second, let me just go, let me kind of monitor to potentially hop back into like an automatic playoff team? Now you can argue, okay, with John, your chances of making the playoffs go way, way up anyway, if he lands with Tennessee, Cleveland, the Raiders, whoever. But I mean, there are some pretty sweet teams, pretty sweet organizations right now that, you kind of feel like, are they really, for like, what happens if and let go of Nick Sirianni. Could Harbaugh want to bounce over there?
Mike Tomlin could get fired. The Steelers lose this weekend. Tomlin can be fired.
Oh, yeah. That one slipped my mind. Who are they? Oh, they're playing Houston. Yeah, you got Chargers, New England, Denver. Yeah. So Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Philly. I think if I was John, I would want to wait at least a week to see, what's going on here, because you got to imagine if you are, if you're a team like that, right? Say you're Buffalo and you fire Sean McDermott after like a humiliating loss against the first-year Liam Cohen Jaguars. They're not going to be reaching out to Anthony Weaver, or take your pick, right? They're not bringing in Arthur Smith on a 4-year contract or Steve Spagnuolo on a 4-year contract. No, they're swinging for the fences. So I'm with you. You got to at least you owe it to literally everybody. If you don't have a top 10 coach in football right now, you got to be on the phone trying to connect with the agent. Hey, how much would he be looking for? Is there any interest at all? Do what you can. And again, even Cincinnati Bengals, Zach Taylor, you mentioned the Miami Dolphins with Mike McDaniel. Get on the phone and see what's up. Yep. There's some obvious ones that, obviously don't make sense, like Ben Johnson, no. Vrabel, no. Sean Payton, no. They're all going to be staying. But for these teams that A, miss the playoffs, and B, even have like a slight doubt of, can this guy hoist a Lombardi trophy one day? You got to be on the phone, at least inquiring. Not saying you have to fire your guy to talk to Harbaugh, obviously, but it's worth a shot. It's worth a shot. But my fear is literally every fan base is having the same exact discussion right now when it comes to John Harbaugh, which is pay him whatever, do whatever it takes to bring him in. He can have full control, this and that. And, I just don't think it's, I don't really think it's realistic for me, at least right now. But here's what I do think. Okay. This could, right. If you're a fan that's out on Woody John or on Aaron Glenn, if the Jets want for optic purposes, okay, now hear me out. What they can do is they can say, we're going to move on from Glenn and we're going to try to go for John Harbaugh. Like, that's going to be our excuse for doing this. So candidates around the league can't just look at the Jets and be like, oh, same old Jets. They're giving their own player a one and done. Like, that's dysfunctional as hell. It's like, no, they're shooting their shot for John Harbaugh. But in reality, yes, of course we could do that. But if you just go straight at like a Kevin Stefanski, like that second tier guy, and while everyone's trying to wait, get in line and sort it out with John Harbaugh, and you just go straight for that second candidate that you feel like makes sense with like a full court press, like don't even think about Harbaugh, like we're not even going to waste time, boom, go right after Stefanski. That to me, I think could maybe make some sense. Again, assuming you're out completely on Glenn.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like there's no secret now that I'm over the Aaron Glenn experience. I have zero faith. I think we're delaying the inevitable. At this time next year, we're talking about who's that next head coach can be. When you have this kind of opportunity in front of you, like you saw in the chat, if Matt LaFleur becomes available, you have Harbaugh, you have Stefanski. Like these guys are legitimate upgrades. I think Harbaugh is the best out of all of these, but like this kind of opportunity doesn't come very often. And we've been burned in the past. With Jim Harbaugh, come and goes, not part of that. Sean Payton comes and goes, not a part of that. It's like you don't have many chances here. And it's like you have this, to me, is the defining moment for the Jets because of all the resources you have. Like, don't waste this number 2 pick. Don't waste all these first-round picks over the next 2 years. Don't waste all this cap space. It's like the equivalent of having like Mike McCagnon draft everybody, spend all the money, and then firing him. And it's like, we knew it was going to happen. Why did we do this? So now you have a chance to act like an NFL organization that's actually competent, wants to win, and is self-aware enough to know that the guys you have in place right now, especially the coaching staff, are not the right ones. We're literally talking about Aaron Glenn hiring a new defensive coordinator, probably other defensive coaches, getting help for the offensive side of the ball. So basically, year 2, you're rebuilding your mistakes from year 1. So it's like, oh, I learned a lot of things. Great, you lost a lot of games too. There's got to be repercussions for poor performance. There's got to be repercussions for just incompetence and being bad at your job. And he's historically bad. Minus the last 4 games of tanking, the Jets were historically bad. They regressed in a terrible manner. Now you have a chance to change it. So they had their press conference today. Great, wonderful. Things change all the time, man. If you have to pivot, you pivot. So if you reach out to him, like you want to reach out to Stefanski behind the scenes, Cool. You want to go after, like, I see Cliff Kingsbury, probably not the guy I'd sell my ship for, but Stefanski, LaFleur, Harbaugh, fine with me, dude. But Harbaugh is the big fish, dude. That's a legit organizational change that would be monumental for this team. Monumental.
Yeah, quick note on Cliff. It's interesting because Cliff is someone who's not considered a leader whatsoever. Not considered a culture guy, not considered, a team not necessarily saying he's like all about him, but you look at some of the reports on why he got let go in Arizona. Like the leadership, the culture was awful. So it's interesting to see a lot of Jets fans bring up Cliff Kingsbury's name. Obviously, Texas Tech's culture was kind of, that wasn't like 100% perfect as well. But yeah, I still like Cliff. I just don't think it's realistic with him. Here's, a realistic question that, you have to ask yourself. If it's not going to be, so we move on from Glenn, we make we push all of our chips into the middle of the table for a Harbaugh, for Stefanski. Again, we're looking at what, 7 jobs are open right now. You got to imagine, of course you can rule, like, Harbaugh's not going back to Baltimore, so you can like rule that out for Harbaugh. So he's probably looking at right now 6 options. And that's assuming nobody else gets fired. No Tomlin, no McDermott, no Sirianni, no Todd Bowles too. But if you do that and you just act like every other team and you say, okay, here's your blank check. I mean, if he has 6 blank checks, or I guess 7 blank checks in front of him, with complete control. Yes, of course the Jets have the draft picks, but Cleveland has extra draft picks, and the Raiders have the first pick plus $100 million in space. Like, there are other pitches that you can make to Harbaugh.
He probably wouldn't go Raiders with being the same division as his brother, though, would he?
I think that would be pretty cool, to be honest. But and here's another, like, just kind of quick, just trying to play devil's advocate to not, just be like an echo chamber here, even though I agree with you. Is there a world where he maybe is reaching out to other people? Because the one thing I think we can all say about Baltimore is they're well ran. They have great ownership. Is he maybe looking at or connecting with the Joe Douglas who worked for the Jets, or talking to other people that maybe like a Rex Ryan who, was from Baltimore and goes over to New York, to maybe just get the inside track on how the Jets are ran? It feels like, again, the Jets are just a long shot to me. But what I was going to say before was, if you miss out on a Harbaugh, let's just say he goes to the Giants, right? Because I think Schefter said that that's the favorite already. And he is interested in the Giants. You miss out on Harbaugh. You got to imagine, okay, well, now that the Ravens are in the mix, they're like one of the prime jobs too. So we're probably not going to go get a Flores. We're probably not going to go get a Stefanski. Who do you personally want to go target? That
why? But see, like, the thing right now is, like, everybody's like, well, listen, this is a pipe dream. Obviously, John Harbaugh to me is a pipe dream. When I wanted last year, the last 2 years, I'm like, trade for him. I don't care. If the Jets fire Aaron Glenn, your mantra is, we need an established veteran head coach to take over this team. No more first timers. We realize how big this job is. We realize the mindset we need. You have Rick Spielman call John Harbaugh, a guy that's been there, done that as a general manager, and is established in the NFL. Say, listen, man, what you've heard in the past is not the way it is anymore. We're a lot different now. I'm in charge of this. I have operations. Like, you have Spielman talk to him. Somebody, not Woody Johnson. Rick Spielman does it, and you change it. But if you don't get Harbaugh, you pivot. Stefanski, Flores, you go to all the top guys, the top candidates now that every other team wants. Like, the Raiders are supposed to be high on Flores. Okay, so Jets can be too. Like, bring in these veteran guys that are established that can get things done. And that's where you go, because Aaron Glenn's not it. We know he's not it. Everybody knows it, except Woody Johnson, because, it's $40 million. I don't care about your money. You've been ripping off fans for 15 years, no playoffs, raising ticket prices. You're making millions and millions of dollars. It's not even an issue, because you change it and you start winning, you're going to triple your money. You bring in John Harbaugh here, dude, merch sales out raise ticket price again, merch sales, everything changes. Winning gives you money, losing takes away from you. I don't care about Aaron Glenn's contract. I genuinely don't care about it.
Right. But, from our standpoint, from the Jets standpoint, we're starving for success, starving for, long-term stability here. It makes sense, but it takes 2 to tango
True.
here because look, we could have hired. Well, I don't want to say we could have hired, but I mean, we had the opportunity to do this last season with Vrabel, where it's just here's your blank check, Mike.
But he's a Patriot at heart, though, dude. It wasn't like
But-
Vrabel was like. I
but
feel like
he-
Vrabel played
but
for the
he-
Chargers for 10 years.
For sure, but at that when the Jets sat down with him, the New England Patriots job was not open at that point in time. And if we even think back to some of the reports, Ian Rappaport, Gareth, all the NFL Network reporters were literally saying that Mayo was expected to be back. It wasn't until he interviewed for the Jets, then you get the Patriots job opening. So, and even a Mike McCarthy, I haven't gotten any word that McCarthy has interviewed with the Jets. Like
they pissed him off. They blew him up. He desperately, the year they hired Adam Gase, he desperately wanted this job. He actively campaigned for it, and they turned him down. And he's like, you know what? F you. I'm out. Like, you had your chance now. I've gone somewhere else. He won somewhere else. He's like, I'm what, my third time's a charm? You're the New York Jets. I'm out. I'm not interested. But again, now you have a lot more to offer him and saying, listen, man, we made a mistake. This is where you need like in the New York Jets front office, you need salespeople to sell your team. Listen, we fired a lot of people here. We have a whole new personnel staff here, new scouts, new this. Rick Spielman's your guy. A lot of things have changed, man. This is not the Joe Douglas Jets anymore, the Mike McCagnon Jets. This isn't Woody Johnson. He's not meddling. Like you've got to sell a vision here. And when you have the cap space to all these draft picks, you can sell it. But you got to be good at it, and you got to be willing to pay. Even give up power, dude. You want full control of the team? Cool. You want to fire Muji? Fire Muji. Don't care. Do it. Like that's how desperate I am for a guy like this. You have to be. You got to swing big, dude. We can't keep going with these little first-time head coaches and every 3 years we fire and move on. You got to make a play, dude. You have to. This is where we're at. Look how bleak it is right now. Jet fans don't want to buy tickets. We don't want to watch the team. You have a coach mumbling in press conferences where we have no faith giving him number 2 pick in the draft and drafting Dante Moore. So we're all fearing that he's going to ruin him. That's how bad it is right now.
Mm-hmm. Right, but that still doesn't change. No matter how desperate, whatever the organization or the fan base is for that coach, it doesn't change that coach desire of coming here. You know what I mean? Whether we want Harbaugh or we don't want Harbaugh, that's not, in play in Harbaugh's mind. You know what I mean?
No, it's listen, I get it. I get it. It's not an easy sell, but you've got to act like a big boy organization and make that move. You have to, because we're going nowhere, dude. We're going backwards. So if it means I like Stefanski too, to be honest with you, I do. Like I like Stefanski, I like Harbaugh because they're all instant upgrades. Like you're like, all right, we have a coach in the room now. We actually have a coach that can actually win games here and do some things. Not a coach trying to find his way and sell us some goddamn slogan and everything else. You know what I mean? So, but then again, it's like if you can't get Harbaugh and you want to pivot to Stefanski, cool. And then again, there's other coaches that are going to get fired that look, if Mike Tomlin becomes available next Sunday, okay, I'm interested. Matt LaFleur, I'm interested. Because these are winning coaches that have a program. They built a program and have been successful for a long period of time. They're not a fly-by-night coach. And that's what the Jets need. We don't need Band-Aids. We need a whole goddamn surgery. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I said, I agree with you. But the question that needs to be asked again, which is if you and I mean, I had my I mean, how many shows have we been doing now? Like we both had our lists before the season started. I'm totally on board with the Brian Flores. I'm totally on board, even with the Vance. Like I was a big Vance Joseph guy. I really respect his defense. I like his play calling on defense. He has played head coaching experience. And so even though I personally might be okay with firing Glenn now and bringing in a Flores or a Vance, or a Stefanski or obviously a Harbaugh, but in the event that say the Jets do fire him and weeks go by and Harbaugh is gone and Stefanski's gone and we get the notification that it's going to be Arthur Smith or Steve Spagnuolo. I mean, we're at the point now where it's looking like Matt Nagy is the front runner for Tennessee, so he's probably not an option. I know there was a lot of Jets fans that weren't even really interested in Matt Nagy to begin with. So, yes, we can talk and rave about Harbaugh's coaching abilities, and I think we're all in agreement with that. But And I'm with you. Behind the scenes, if I'm Woody Johnson, I am calling, I am inquiring. It's just, in my opinion, if you're an owner of an NFL franchise, an owner of one of 32, you got to at least you got to at least reach out and see what's out there.
You see, the thing,
But it doesn't, just because you reach out doesn't mean that you're going to land that guy. And
No,
if you
but
don't land that guy, now it's
no risk, no reward. But the thing is, everybody's like, if we fire Aaron Glenn and we don't get Harbaugh, what happens? You'll find somebody else. Let's not act like there's no other competent NFL coach out there. It's only 3 other guys. Aaron Glenn is one of the worst coaches in the NFL, hands down. He's already proven that. We can find an upgrade. It's committing to and owning it. You own your mistake. You don't double down on it, especially when opportunities like this present itself. Like when if Mike Tomlin becomes available, I'm having the same exact conversation. Matt LaFleur, same thing. Hell, I'll take Sean McDermott. Fine with me. Don't care. Guy wins games. We're there now. We're at this point, Ian, where this team is at we always say rock bottom. This is rock bottom. This is as low as it gets for the New York Jets right now in terms of what we've seen and where they're going, as we have no faith whatsoever that we're going to get this turned around. Like, there's literally fans right now scared of drafting a quarterback because we have no faith in the staff to actually develop them, right? So listen, man, you don't not fire Aaron Glenn out of the fear of the unknown. We know the known. The known is Aaron Glenn's a bad coach. The unknown is there's a lot of opportunity to improve it.
Mm-hmm. But there's sorry, I think you kind of cut out at that, or maybe I cut out in that last.
I'm just saying, I don't have fear of the unknown because my known is already scary enough for me. We know we have a bad staff. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to double down. Let's stay bad because we're scared of getting worse. I'm not scared of that. I want to improve. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that with other coaches, established coaches that are now available, sitting right in front of your eyes. And there's probably a couple more too with the Packers and Steelers. That could very easily happen. So, dude, you have to keep your eyes open here and you have to be aggressive. You can't be complacent and you keep you know what? Just one more year and see what happens. Dude, it's always one more year. And then next year, the opportunity's not in front of you and you're screwed again.
Yeah. So I think there's this so Black Betty SRT, Ian's where he's talking about the groundskeeper is better than Glenn. I'm not arguing for Aaron Glenn. I've made that very, very clear. I'm not. Glenn wasn't my first choice. Glenn wasn't my second choice this past cycle. I have tons of questions about Glenn, but what I am saying is, yes, it's easy to sit here right now and just say fire Glenn and hire Harbaugh. But if you decide to move on, and we get the notification that it's Brian Callahan that's going to be getting the head coaching job for a 4-year deal, or it's Arthur Smith, or you bring in someone that you maybe do like and it's still not good, well, now Woody Johnson has to pay 2.
I'm not. But why all of a sudden are we worried about Woody Johnson's money? He's been taking my money for 30 years. Don't care about the money. It's like the assumption is if we don't get a Harbaugh, we can't get an upgrade. I think there's a lot of upgrades over the staff, even if you don't get Harbaugh and Stefanski. You don't think so?
I agree with you. And I'm not defending Woody Johnson needs to save money at every turn. I don't care about that. I don't care. But I'm saying, okay, well, what's the track record of this? Does this feel like a Woody Johnson move where he'd be down to pay 3 coaches in the span of 4 years?
You're the worst team in the NFL, dude. You're a laughing stock. Like Leon Hess had you had to go. They swung big for Bill Parcells. It changed the trajectory of this team for friggin' 10 years, 12 years. They won after that with Groh and Mangini and everybody else. Like, you can't worry about what does this make us look like? Is this typical Woody? This is when Woody Johnson finally opens his goddamn eyes and acts like a guy that really cares about winning for the first time as an owner of the New York Jets. This is where he acts like he's truly not selling his soul for Aaron Rodgers, also the nonsense. This is a power, bold statement from this organization, just kind of waking the fans up like, oh, we actually do care. We do want to win. We're tired of being in this mode.
Yeah. So again, it's like I'm looking at some of these comments right now. Woody Johnson's a billionaire. I'm not arguing for Woody Johnson. Oh, he should do this. He should do that. What owner in the NFL is paying 3 coaches in the span of 4 years?
Don't care. Who cares?
Neither do I. That's my point.
But you keep doing it until you get the right guy. But what's worse? 3 coaches in 4 years, or keeping a coach that you know sucks for an extra year. The Jets should have fired Saleh before last year, and they didn't do it. And look what happened. 5 games in, boom, he got fired. We knew Gase should have been fired. We knew Bowles should have been fired. And you waste that extra year for what reason? To appease who? We don't want to look bad. You already look bad. You're the worst team in football. The Jets can't look any worse right now. Seriously. You fired a former player. Who cares? He sucks. Like, doesn't matter. He's incompetent.
Yep.
And it's not even, and the thing is, it's not even just fans saying it. You have his former teammates. Victor Green said this team is terrible. Damian Woody, his allies are like, yeah, man, this team's not well coached.
Yeah, so it looks like you got a super chat right here from Jay.
Yeah, I got a couple of them. I got here. First of all, probably Woody never has or will pay a top coach. He hasn't. Woody's never spent big money on coach. Well, he spent money on Aaron Glenn. He spent the going rate, whatever it is, between $10 and $13 million. He's giving him huge money, but he had to. But that's another thing. You got to go to another level to get a big-time head coach. You have to.
Yeah.
I'm all fired up, man. I hate this team. I do. I do.
It sucks. I mean, it's not a good position to be in, you know. And you know, like you said, we're all in agreement that Harbaugh makes a ton of sense. If the Jets fire Aaron Glenn for Harbaugh, everyone will be very, very excited about it. I'm simply pointing out that there are 6 to 7 other franchises that are literally having the same conversation right now. What separates the Jets? Extra draft picks? Okay, that's one thing. Cool. But there's other teams that have high draft picks or extra draft picks or $100 million in cap space that are willing to, I'm going to assume, willing to put down the blank check and give them a lot of power. It's not just the Jets at the table. And I agree. Again, we're on the same team. I'm just trying to, you know, play some devil's advocate here to try to iron out, you know, the reality of the situation, which is every organization would love to have John Harbaugh.
Yeah, but listen, you're completely right. Like, this to me is a pipe dream. It's not ultimately realistic, but you got to be part of it. You've got to take this chance. You've got to make a bold move. And you know, first of all, thank you for your super chat. It says you have to give Glenn the upcoming year. If he fails, you go into next year with 3 first-rounders. Why do I have to do that? Tell me exactly why Aaron Glenn has earned a second year after what we saw this year. What exactly did he do so well that inspired you? He hired Chris Banjo. Okay. What else did he do? Why do we have to do this? Why do we have to double down on a mistake? We don't have to do anything. Life happens. People get fired every day in this world for whatever reason. Nothing should be secure, especially in the NFL.
Well, I think, you know, if you want to, you know, run it back with Glenn, like, you do have arguments that you can bring to the table, which is first year guy, you know, like is it 100% like without a doubt, like, or I guess maybe in other words, is it impossible that Glenn cannot get better? Is it impossible that this team will not improve? I mean, I think there's always a chance. Like, I wrote down a couple names here, you know, guys that took over as head coaches, struggled early on, team stuck with them, and then they ended up kind of turning things around as they added more talent and guys that fit the system. Again, I'm not saying Glenn is going to do that. I don't have much faith in Aaron Glenn, if I'm being honest. But you can bring out this argument, right? If you are 100% in Glenn's corner saying he deserves another shot, because I can point to this coach and this coach and this coach and this coach that struggled early, everyone wanted them out, and then they started turning it around. You know, Kyle Shanahan was like that, right? 6 wins year 1, then they go backwards in year 2 with 4 wins. He's entering year 3 on the hot seat. Then he comes back with 13 in year 3. Zach Taylor, 2 wins, 2-14, then 4-12, then 10 wins. Ultimately ends up making the Super Bowl. Brian Flores, 5 wins to 10 wins. Dan Campbell, right, 3 wins to 9 wins the following year. So it's been done, right, where a first-year guy can flip the script and, you know, as he adds talent. But
how many first-year guys failed in the second year and they got fired? So Can you say
that again real quick?
Not to be a jerk. I'm just all fired up. But the thing is, for every example you give me of Kyle Shanahan, I could probably give you 5 guys that had a lousy first year and backed up with 2 more bad years and were fired. Look at the Jet coaches. We've seen them all just firsthand ourselves. So for every, like, it's easy to kind of, we could cherry pick both sides. Like, oh, this guy, if you give him a chance. Right now, the only chance, Aaron Glenn's only going to be as good as the staff he can put together. because right now you don't have any faith in him doing it himself. Like his explanation of the defense of why it's so bad drove me absolutely insane. So
Me too.
it's like he's literally talking himself out of a job after coaching himself out of a job. So now as a Jet fan, we have to pray he gets Wink Martindale or Raheem Morris or Jonathan Gannon or one of these big names to coach his defense, which is horrendous, and then give Tanner Engstrand help. He's only going to be as good as the guys he hires because he's not good himself. So why, instead of doing all of this, trying to make up for your incompetent coach, here's an idea: hire a better head coach. Seems like a much better idea, doesn't it? Because you're trying to make up for your deficiencies. You can make up for it by hiring somebody else and changing the direction of your organization.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I agree. I
told you weren't ready for my energy tonight. I told you weren't ready.
No, I mean, it's a good conversation, right? Because it's again, you can make valid points on both sides. Sorry, I'm just reading some of these comments here.
They're on fire tonight.
Well, you know, and again, I think there's this misconception that like, oh, I'm backing it. No, I'm not. I'm not backing Glenn. I'm not backing Glenn. But it's, you know, I just don't want to. I refuse to live on an island where I have my stance and I'm incapable of, you know, like ask a Giant fan right now. Who's your top head coaching candidate? Is it going to be Anthony Weaver? Is it going to be Arthur Smith?
Nope.
Is it going to be Nagy or Spags? No, it's John Harbaugh.
Yep.
What about a Raider fan?
Yep.
And a Brown fan? So, yeah, you know, unfortunately, I wish it did, but unfortunately, the NFL doesn't revolve around the Jets. So,
but
there needs to be a conversation of, okay, well, if you go out and shoot for Harbaugh and he says, no, I don't want to be your head coach, then what's the backup plan? Now, I would say I'm cool with a ton of backup plans, me personally, but simply posing that question doesn't mean I'm some sort of, oh, Aaron Glenn is the answer here. There's a big separation with that.
No, what you're saying is legit. Like the Jets' chances of getting Harbaugh are probably 2%, if that, even that. But I'm willing to take that chance because I'm willing to take the chance of firing Glenn and finding an upgrade if I don't get Harbaugh. That's my point with this, because as we're seeing it, there's better candidates becoming available. I like Stefanski. I do. I like Harbaugh. I would like Tomlin. I would like LaFleur. I like Brian Flores. There's 7 jobs available? There's 5 coaches right there we've named. There's only so many jobs going around. And people like Kingsbury. People like, you talk about Matt Nagy. There's guys out there, and they're all upgrades. So we always had this thing when we played soccer. If you shoot 10 shots on goal and you miss 9 of them, guess what you got? You got a goal because you made a goal. That's your goal. You keep aggressively going after top-level coaches till you get one. You don't settle with a guy that you know is incompetent, saying, "Oh, you know what? Maybe next year we'll get it right. Maybe next year we'll get it right." I want the slam dunk. I want the guy who that's been there, done that, can actually do it. It's a guy that's promising he can do it. Oh, I have a plan. I have a plan. Just trust me. But his plan is trust and faith. But what are we doing here?
Yeah, I know. That's the point where we're at. 3 wins, getting worse as the season goes on. I mean, honestly, dude, like December was I don't want to overreact, but December was probably the worst month of football I've ever seen.
Yep.
From an NFL team. Not just, Jets, Gase years, this and that. Like, no, from an NFL team, like it was that bad. So, I personally, again, there's, in my opinion, a lot of coaches that I think would be upgrades over Glenn. But will the Jets do it? I don't know.
Well, and here's my question too. Now, just say as of today, with January 6th, we're keeping Aaron Glenn. They need a defensive coordinator. Now, I am ridiculously negative right now because I'm so down on this staff that I've lost hope and I have lost all belief. You're a lot more realistic and measured than I am because you keep a calmer head. I'm emotional. I'm all over the place. Now that we need a defensive coordinator, do you honestly believe, with all things considered, that Aaron Glenn could get in here? Like, keep out all the jobs that are available, all the coaches that are hiring. Can he get a Wink Martindale? Can he get a Raheem Morris or a Jonathan Gannon? Can he get a top defensive coordinator to come here and coach for him while he's potentially on the hot seat and the Jets as a whole aren't all that enticing? Do you think can that actually happen?
For Wink, I definitely think it could. With these other guys, the Jim Schwartzes, the Raheem Morrises, I don't really. I mean, yeah, you can argue it, but I just don't think that, again, it's the same argument with head coach, where it's like the Jets are probably going to be 5th, 6th, or 7th on the available job list, right? Because you got to imagine, not only is it just the Cowboys and the Jets that need DCs, but it's also all of these new head coaching openings. So there's what, 6 or 7 more right there. And then let's just call it Vance gets a job. Vance goes in and gets the Cardinals job. Well, now the Broncos need a DC. Or Jesse Minter goes and gets the Ravens job. Well, now the Rams need a DC. So, in my opinion, the Jets have got to strike really quickly. They have to approach one of these coaches with a big offer and get it done early, because you don't want to be, left without a seat in like the game of musical chairs. You know what I mean?
So now you have, like, I have concerns about that actually happening too, where the Jets getting a top coordinator that's clearly, you need a good defensive mind that's inspirational, motivational, and can actually scheme, because Aaron Glenn doesn't want to get his hands dirty. And then you have the offensive side of the ball, where you have an offensive coordinator already in place. Now, do you want to be a senior offensive assistant to help this guy, where you have a prized possession? You could have a Dante Moore here, or you could have that, but do you want to take a chance to come here for a year to work with whatever? You don't really get that overlying feeling of stability. Is that going to be a challenge for the Jets? Or do they have to get like an older type of guy, not discounting North Turner, but get an older guy to consult? Like, listen, man, Scott Turner's here. Can you help oversee this? We need to clean up some things. Like, do you go that route? Like, how do you upgrade the offensive staff?
That's the tough part, right? And I think first and foremost, you almost, like, if you're Glenn, you literally have to. I mean, the money has got to be high. That's
Yep.
First and foremost. But I think you almost have to go as far as to say, okay, not only can you just come in and help the offense, not only will we give you a great title, but also we're probably going to have to make you assistant head coach as well. Like, we're going to put you right under the head coach. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be the team's right hand. You're going to have like a lot of say here, because if you don't, like, because I've seen, again, like, a lot of people suggest Cliff Kingsbury. The Jets interviewed 18 to 19 different head coaches last season.
Yep.
Some of which weren't even like remotely like possible. Some were just kind of out, just kind of, it felt like out of left field. 19 candidates interviewed, and Cliff was not one of them.
Yep.
To me, and also too, something to make a note of, like, the Jets social media will post like, we're set to interview Aaron Glenn. We're set to interview Mike Vrabel, right, for a head coaching job. Ben Johnson was never posted about. Mike Vrabel or Mike McCarthy was never posted about. Cliff Kingsbury was another one of those guys where it's just like, okay, there's no sort of information there, which leads me to believe that there's probably, because if you're the Jets, again, why would you not want to talk to Cliff, who at the time was coming off an NFC Championship game, or I guess maybe not, because they made the playoffs, which is still a crazy success story. But why would you not even put in an interview? Not even.
Well,
why are you even interested? And so
I have an answer for that. The
that
Jets
Cliff wouldn't be interested.
I think there are several coaches the Jets wanted to interview. They were rejected before. Listen, man, like Ben Johnson's like, you know what? I want to go to Chicago Bears. I want to go to Caleb Williams. I'm not going to waste my time or yours. I'm not interested. Cliff Kingsbury's like, I like Jaden Daniels. I'm going to stay here. I feel marketable. Let's not even waste our time. So instead of having a broadcast through the media saying, oh, the Jets were rejected by Ben Johnson, the kind of just went behind, kind of like a handshake deal. Like, listen, man, don't say nothing. You move on, we move on, and we're good. That's why a lot of these, like, it's like Ben Johnson, Cliff Kingsbury, Mike McCarthy. A lot of these guys are like, we're just not interested. We're not. But we're not going to embarrass. But we don't want the Jets to be embarrassed by having all these guys turn them down in the media, because the job even looks less marketable than it already was.
Yeah, and so that's my exact point, which is, if that is the case, if Cliff turned down the Jets head coaching job initially last season, why would he really, like, to me at least, from a realistic standpoint, why would he take on this Jets like offensive assistant job?
Exactly.
Under Coach Glenn, unless he wants to maybe be interim head coach, but even that, the less than 5% chance, because he didn't even interview to be the head coach. So yeah, that was kind of my point.
And here's my other question. And this is, again, I know I'm coming off ridiculously negative about Aaron Glenn and his staff. Hate me for it. I don't care, because I'm ready to give up. The other question I have is, Is Aaron Glenn, think about what he said in his press conference today. He needs to have a guy he's very comfortable with. Would he be comfortable hiring a Wink Martindale or a Raheem Morris or a whoever, that a guy that could actually replace him as a head coach halfway through the season? The season's like the team sucks. If the Jets are 0-6 next year, you know what we're going to hear? Let Wink be the head coach. I want Aaron Glenn fired. Is he comfortable hiring a very competent coordinator on his staff in a hot seat year that could literally take his job 7 weeks in next year? Is he comfortable? Is he that comfortable and that comfortable with his job?
I mean, to me, like if you're a head coach of the team, like you cannot be like if that's your mindset and you're going to pass on qualified better candidates because you're afraid of that, then that should tell ownership everything that they need to know, even putting this season aside, if that's the case, right? Like if he just hires a yes man, in other words, or he just promotes like a Chris Harris, like not a good look, man, in my opinion, at least.
Well, first of all, Malcolm, thank you very much, man. With all these head coaches available, Woody has to make a move. Jet fans are already pissed, but it will be 100 times worse if he doesn't get proper leadership. Dude, if the Jets stand pat and watch all these coaches move around, and I'm assuming just say Tomlin or all these other guys who come, even say McDermott, these guys are all available. The Jets double down on Glenn, and he's fired next year with 6 weeks in, you're going to be like out of your mind. It's going to be nauseating to watch because you didn't give your team the best chance to win. The Jets talk about competition and being relevant, all this stuff. Woody Johnson talked about it. He's never actually done it. This year's your chance to actually do it when the opportunities are in front of you, literally in front of you. They're staring in front of you. And again, I understand Harbaugh is not ultimately realistic. Shoot your shot, bro. Shoot it. Might as well. Then you go for, if Flores is going to the Raiders, so be it. Get involved. There are plenty of other guys out there available that are better than Glenn. It's not like there's no other upgrades out there, man. And that's kind of my point with all of this. And it kind of gets reiterated today when you see this kind of stuff available. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and I agree with you. I agree. Like there are like legitimate upgrades that we can go out and get. That do make sense ultimately, but in my opinion, we have to live. I think we got to understand that like this is Woody Johnson's team, and yeah, we can swap out the GM, and yeah, we can swap out the coach, coaching staff and whatnot every couple of years, but Woody owns the team. It's his decision, and is this something that he wants to do? And that is going to be the end all be all. So as much as we want Harbaugh, as much as we want all these different guys, if Woody's on board with Glenn, then that's what's going to happen. And Glenn is officially in that Brian Callahan area, that mold 100%. Where, yeah, if we're in October and we are 0-6 or whatever, 3-9, it could be whatever, just a horrible record. I could easily see him being a mid-season fire next season.
100%.
Especially assuming after the upgrades, because this year you can make excuses with the roster and whatnot. Next year, after the draft, after free agency, you like there's no more excuses.
Yeah, no, and to be fair to everybody in the chat, dude, I'm putting Ian in a very difficult spot because I'm going above and beyond and over the rails because I hate what we're doing right now, and I really want to push the issue of getting this coach out of here because I'm completely fed up, especially when you know what else is out there. So I'm putting you in different because you're trying to repeat what I'm doing, like, oh, this is one big fire, everybody. So you're giving a good argument here, but I put you in a tough spot by being this kind of person tonight because I'm just tired of this shit. Now,
yeah, no,
I'm just tired of it. I can't take anymore.
And I don't want it to come across like, oh, I'm anti John Harbaugh. No, obviously not. But like, there's other teams that need openings, and as much as I love the Jets and as much as like I would work for them for free, I think a lot of Jets fans would be down to go work for the team. But I think there's a lot of conversations being had with. There's no coincidence why legit 45 minutes, under an hour after John Harbaugh was fired, 7 teams already contacted him. Yep. So that's a position that the Jets are in. So
yeah, I don't like this Tyson guy. The rope is gone, dude. I let completely go of the rope. Don't even care about it. Now, the one thing I want to talk to you about, this has been an hour already, which is crazy to me, is the Jets get the number 2 pick in the draft, which is awesome. It seems like, according to this, is going to change 45 times between now and the draft, that it's Fernando Mendoza is going to go 1. Now it comes down to the whole Dante Moore thing where a lot of people love him saying easy number 2 pick in the draft. Jets, go get your guy. Do you think as of right now, he is a foregone conclusion at 2? Are you curious to see him play Friday night versus Indiana? Like, what's your take on January 6th about Dante Moore?
Yeah, I mean, he's an interesting prospect to me. But God, to rope it back into the AG thing, you can definitely argue, okay, first of all, is Aaron Glenn and the staff capable of developing a system around Moore, making sure that he has enough talent and whatnot? And of course, Darren Muji is also into play, and Rick Spielman and stuff like that. Like, we have to lump everybody in, in that conversation when it comes to like acquiring talent and stuff. But I think right now a lot of fans say, well, we don't have a lot of weapons, we don't have a lot of depth, right? We lose Garrett Wilson, we're down to like bottom of the roster guys, backups on the majority of teams. We have coaching question marks. I would say we don't really have 100% concrete answers on what a Tanner Engstrand offense looks like. We also don't really know if he can build an offense around a quarterback's skill set. And you're looking at Dante Moore at 20 years old. I don't want to see Glenn at 0-4 say, well, you know what? We're 0-4, Mariota, you're on the bench. Dante, you're playing to save my job.
Yep.
Don't want to see it. I don't think, yes, it could potentially save Glenn's job if Dante comes in and is great, but for Moore specifically, I don't like that plan. I've never really liked the idea of throwing young quarterbacks into the fire, especially bad teams with not a lot of help, and basically just saying, save our jobs, please. Now, I think the good news from losing that Bills game and just kind of how the rest of the slate played out, we didn't finish at 7 or 8 or 6 or 5. We finished at 2. So in my opinion, the nightmare disaster situation was trading all these firsts, trading 3 to 4 first. I mean, Connor Hughes literally said that if the Jets finished with like the 5th or 4th pick, the conversation to get in the door to move up to 2 would be at least 3 firsts. We've completely eliminated that discussion, that potential thing happening. And that, in my opinion, would have set the franchise back, because I can't find a bad 3-win team that trades tons of firsts to go up and get a quarterback. Yeah, you can be a bad team and get a quarterback, sure, which is what we're talking about here with Dante at 2. But the whole argument of trading, that's a completely different story. So I am happy that at least that's put to bed.
But do you, like, again, he's got a long way to go. Like, they want to hear, just for you, Tony. To me, I watch college football. I love watching it. I'm not a guy that studies the tape and all this other stuff. I just watch to do the eye test. To me, he looks like kind of a project. He's not a day one starter where he needs time to get acclimated to the NFL, grow into his body more, just clean up his game a little bit. And that's like play like week 10, week 12, all that, which is kind of my vision. But it also assumes quality coaching on offense too, where you have that quality quarterback coach, good offensive coordinator. You have a staff around like, all right, it's one thing to have an offensive line in Garrett Wilson. It's also have a guy that can clean up your technique and fundamentals and teach you an NFL offense, teach you your route trees and all this other stuff. And that's where I get concerned with Dante Moore too, where it's like at number 2, he's the foreground. He's going to savior the team. Like that's your franchise quarterback, right? And that pressure on this kid here makes me ridiculously uncomfortable, where I can make a case to trade down. I can make a case to go defensive end, wide receiver. I can make a case to go Kyler Murray instead if he comes available, and draft a kid in the 3rd or 4th round where there's not enough pressure on this kid. Like, there's a lot of different ways you can go. Taking Dante Moore at 2, I understand why we do it, would make me very nervous, dude. Just because it's the Jets and their current staff's in place. If it's John Harbaugh on his staff, feel a lot better about it, because it's because
right,
he's going to be here for 5 years. Aaron Glenn, there's no guarantee Glenn will be here before 7 games next year. Literally, that's like,
I know.
Dude,
yeah, it's
that's
freaky,
the problem
man.
with this.
Yeah, no, it's and you know what the sad part too is, man, it's like, so the season prior we finished with 5 wins with all these like names on paper: Devontae Adams, Morgan Moses, Rodgers, all these different guys, right? DJ Reed, Mosley, 5 wins. Man, if Glenn just somehow, because we had some close games this year, like if we just so happened to beat the Denver Broncos, which, I mean, we had Denver on the ropes, like driving in that last drive, right? Moving down the field. I mean, we lost to Carolina 13-6. Pittsburgh, obviously, right? Garrett Wilson had that drop. He got jarred loose by Jalen Ramsey, like on the sidelines. Man, if Glenn just got to like 5, I would say 6-7 wins. I mean, I think that would eliminate him from being in like the complete danger zone of him getting fired within 5 weeks next season. And it's just tough, man. I mean, 3 wins just is flat out terrible. And then you're looking at all the statistics, then you're looking at the historic stuff, then you're looking at how the month of December went and the losing streak and just everything, right? It sucks. So it's a tough position to be in, right? Taking a quarterback up at the top of the draft. I mean, literally the same argument was made with Brian Callahan last year with Cam Ward at 1. It's like, is this really the best move here? Because if Callahan doesn't work, well, now we can just essentially trash Cam Ward's rookie year. He's going to be, running around because he's forced to play early to save these guys' jobs, to save the franchise. That to me doesn't really, and I like Cam Ward. I like his upside, but I think unfortunately the Glenn thing is kind of panning out just like the Callahan situation.
Yeah, the having Aaron Glenn and staff here as they currently exist kind of dampens a lot of this opportunity for the Jets because I just don't have faith in it. Like Dante Moore could be an exciting player if you had a much different coaching staff. An offensive-minded head coach would have been nice. Like that. All these little things here makes it kind of difficult to buy. We'll buy into it because we're fans. We have no choice. Now, how much stock are you putting into the game Friday night? Like now, all Jet fans are studying Dante Moore's highlight tapes on YouTube and all these games. Like, does he played solid last week? He wasn't great. He wasn't awful. He was solid. He did some really good things. How much stock you put into this game on Friday night to see like big spot, against a Heisman Trophy winner? Is it a big moment for him?
I mean, yeah, like obviously it's a playoff game here. I don't really think that this is going to be a determining factor on whether or not, I look at him like, oh, can he play? Can he not play? Like that's what the season has been like that's what we've been watching all year. But I do think it's worth noting that the best defenses that Dante Moore has played against are, the games where he's struggled for the most part. And so if he does go out there, has a great game against Indiana after beating, one of the top defenses last year last week in Texas Tech, that could, maybe change what he's feeling as far as his overall readiness for the NFL. So I think for him individually, it carries a lot of weight, but I think from like a talent evaluation standpoint, we kind of know his arm strength. We know, from a mechanic standpoint, production standpoint, we know kind of who I feel like Dante is as a prospect. I think the majority of people are looking at Dante saying he probably needs a little bit more time, but in a thin quarterback class and I would say essentially a guaranteed top 5 selection no matter what, even if he just hits the combine and is just giving vanilla answers, he's going to be a top 5 pick. Again, if Moore goes out there and shows out Indiana, then maybe in his mind, he feels like, okay, you know what? Like I'm 100% ready to take this next step.
Yeah. I mean, and Jake, thanks, dude. And Jake's question is Aaron Glenn, the Jets head coach in week 1 of 2027. We can't even guarantee he's going to be head coach in week 10 of next year. This year, we can't even guarantee he's going to be the head coach for the full season this year. Now, is there a world? This is what I kind of keep thinking about. Again, Indiana, Oregon. If he doesn't play his best game, does that kind of trigger him to be like, you know what, this is unfinished business. I'm going back to school. I want to run it back and kind of get this national championship or like redeem myself. Do you see a world where he could be number 2 pick in the draft, that he can actually go back to school and be like, you know what, I'm going to make $7 million in NIL money. I'm still making money, but I want to improve. Or does he say, you know what, I'm a number 2 pick here, which is a great opportunity. Next year, I could be 5 or 6 based on the class. How do you think his mindset is in terms of staying or going with the school?
It's tough, man, because you can, much like a lot of these conversations tonight, like you can make good arguments on both sides. You listen to a lot of the talent evaluators, they're all pretty much saying like he needs more time. He doesn't have enough starts. He's 20 years old right now. His birthday is not until May, right? So he will be holding up the Jets jersey if he does declare at 20 years old. And again, right now, at least in a not so great situation with talent and coaching and this and that. But you look at the upside, you look at, again, the quarterback class and whatnot, like you could argue both sides of it. I think there's a chance if Oregon loses and Dante just gets wrecked, right, where he's throwing picks and it's just a disaster. I think there's a chance that he can go back, just because of the track record of Dante the person, right? You think back to really his backstory, right? Coming out of high school, he was looking at Oregon, and then Dillingham leaves and he goes to UCLA because he wants to start early with Chip. Doesn't really go well. Then he kind of has this like self-reflection moment, this self-reflection kind of time period where he's like, you know what, I'm signing on to Oregon, the place that I originally wanted to go, to be a backup because I need to grow, I need to develop. I mean, you look at the track record of some of these Oregon quarterbacks. Bo Nix goes back to school, comes out as a veteran, has success early. Justin Herbert goes back to school, has success. And I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if Dante Moore goes back to school. But again, if you are an NFL team that like the rookie contracts are already slated, it's tough to turn down that amount of cash. And ultimately, if Dante Moore's sole goal is, hey, I want to be a first round pick and I want to have a franchise believe in me, well, then just come out now because that's exactly what's going to happen. So
now, Ty Simpson, I think, kind of realizes he probably has to go back to school. I think he started up. I mean, first of all, they had no offensive line; they can't run the ball. But he took a beating. I think he's kind of in that where he's kind of more of a project too. I mean, maybe he does come out, but like you can make a really good argument for him stay in school another year and come, and figure it out. Even though they have the guy behind them that you talked about, that's really good. Now, other than that, you have Chambliss going back to school. After Fernando Mendoza and Moore, what is the drop-off? Is it not really first round anymore? Now we're like, all right, now we're going to pivot, use our 2 first-round picks on best player available, and then pursue other options later on in the draft, whether it's Carson Beck or whatever else. Like, how big is the drop-off as of now on January 6th?
Well, I'll before we kind of move on to these other guys, I also don't know if it's a 100% fact that Dante Moore is going to be like the next. Like, there's a chance that maybe he's not ready for the NFL and he does flame out. So that's something that I think the Jets have to keep in mind here. But look, short answer: if the Jets aren't going quarterback at 2, then I don't necessarily. I'm not looking at these guys like Nussmeier, Drew Aller, Kate Klubnik in the first 2 rounds. If you want to talk about a day 3 selection, kind of a shot that, you want to take a swing. Okay, cool. Right. If it's one of these round 5, round 6 picks. Okay. But I'm not going to, use one of my picks in the top 45 as like a lotto ticket on a chance at a quarterback. I don't think we have that Tyler Shuck type of, that Derek Carr, that Andy Dalton type of, quarterback in this class where, late first, early second, going to be somewhere in that range. And he has a lot of starts and he can just kind of slide into the NFL game. I mean, if I had to take a guess, like if I could just pick any one of the crop, any one of the QBs from this like day 3 crop, I would probably go with Nussmeier because he was playing hurt this season. And man, is he accurate. That's a guy that I feel like could wind up with the Rams, say in like round 3 or round 4 or something. He can sit behind Stafford, but I'm not solely convinced that really any of these guys are going to be like the next franchise quarterback, which is crazy because you look at some of these mock drafts before the season started. It was Klubnik, it was Aller top 10. Nuss was 1 really for like the first month of the season too. Then you had all the Arch Manning stuff, the Lenore Sellers stuff, the John Mateer stuff. Like, so it's really Ty Simpson had his stock shoot up and then go back down. So it's really been all over the place. But Mendoza's kind of been like the consistent guy in the in that top 15. So for me, if we don't like say Mendoza's not there, say we miss out on a Dante Moore, or for whatever reason he goes back to school, or the Jets aren't really interested, or we get a crazy haul for a trade down situation, right? Like say, for example, if the Cardinals want to offer us some crazy package, they love Dante Moore, and I'm fine sliding down to 3 and taking on like a bunch more, feature picks and stuff to kind of help build this team. I mean, we've all seen this team, dude, like play on Sundays. We're not a quarterback away. We have so many team needs, and unfortunately, too, like. There's a lot of positions on the squad where we might have one really good player, but then behind that player, the depth isn't there as well. So we kind of have to raise the ceiling of this team while at the same time raising the floor.
Now, do you think the Jets free agency approach is going to kind of show their hand on how they handle the draft? Because just say if it's Mendoza and Dante Moore goes back to school, the Jets go out and get Malik Willis. It's kind of like, all right, we're not drafting a quarterback at 2 because we got a quarterback at Malik Willis for 3 years or whatever else. Like, do you think the Jets free agent plan is going to kind of show their hand for their draft plan? If they go big and get Kyler Murray or Willis or whoever, does that kind of show how they're going to handle things? Or no, it doesn't matter if you get Malik Willis. They could still go Dante Moore too.
I mean, we've seen it done, like that, even like the whole Trubisky thing, right? Where they moved up to 2. I believe they signed Mike Glennon the month prior.
Yeah.
And Mike Glennon was like caught off guard by it. Obviously, we had the whole Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix thing. It's been done. So I personally wouldn't rule it out. But I do think, like, for example, if the Jets sign like Marcus Mariota to like a 1-year, $14 million deal, then I think it's pretty obvious. Like, okay, we're probably going to be targeting a rookie quarterback here. But obviously, the key date, it's either January 14th or the 15th or the 16th.
Yeah,
it's the last day that players can declare for the draft. So we'll hopefully have some more clarity about the whole Dante Moore NFL draft declaration.
All right. Well, first of all, Tristan, thank you so much. Coaching continuity is vital in order for these next 2 off seasons to be productive and helping us build a good team. Can't have one be conducted with one head coach and the next with a different one, considering our draft capital and cap. I completely agree with you, and that's why I want Aaron Glenn fired now. That's very clear to me, because you don't want to invest 1 year of all these assets. You're spending $90 million in cap space, these great draft picks, firing the guy. Next guy comes in and says, oh, you know what? I don't like this offensive scheme, and I don't like this defense.
Yeah.
Now the players we just got don't match our scheme, and now we change all over again. That's why it's like, to me, it's like a proactive approach right now for Woody Johnson. Like, all right, let's own it. It's a mess. We can fix it and then use these precious resources to change it with the coach you actually believe in or has actually done it before.
Mm-hmm.
This is so predictable.
So this is we'll continue on the trend tonight of just pissing people off, but let me just pose this, right, to just kind of stoke the flames. Is there a chance that you're looking at the Jets roster, and after the 0-7 start and the trade deadline, Darren Muji, Woody Johnson, Spielman, they just made a decision, like executive decision. We're not going anywhere this year. We're going to trade Quinn and we're going to trade Sauce. We're going to get these draft picks. We're going to build for the future. And this season is just a wash. I mean, there is zero excuse, just no reason at all why Brady Cook should have been out there week after week after week. 5 straight blowouts. 9, dude, like the defense against the Buffalo Bills was on par with like the final week of preseason. My brother texted me. He's just like, dude, what is going on with the Jets are so bad. He's like, I haven't heard of one of these players outside of Jermaine Johnson. And he does, he's not a Jet fan, so he doesn't know like the Sherwoods and whatnot of the world. But he's like, wait, who are these guys? I'm like, dude, we had beat reporters who cover the team for a living tweet out on game day that they've never heard of these players that are suiting up. So, my question to you, is there maybe some sort of behind the scenes knowledge, behind the scenes, understanding of, hey, this season's a wrap. We traded our 2 best players on defense, arguably on the team, maybe outside of Garrett. It's over. It's over. I just cannot believe that Brady Cook and some of these IR decisions were just like in the best decision, or, to gives the best chance to win.
I agree with they were tanking. I also think that they didn't want Justin Fields to ever play again. I think they wanted Justin Fields to stay healthy and get him the hell out of here as fast as possible. Tyrod was banged up, whatever. And they're like, well, it's just, I agree they were tanking. So the last like 3 or 4 games I write off as, okay, they just quit. The players quit, the coaches quit. They're like, we can't do it. Anybody remotely injured, go get healthy for next year. Like Garrett Wilson, Mason Taylor, all these guys like Brandon Stevens, get healthy, recover in the offseason. We'll see you in friggin' whatever workouts start. But the problem I have is they still look really poorly coached anyway. Like, there's still so many glaring, alarming things. You're like, man, like these 4 games don't offset the other 13 games of really bad things we saw. So if they wanted to do that, hey, we tanked and this, and that, and you're writing off like, no, this is part of our plan that, we wanted to lose on purpose. Okay, but it's doesn't offset the 0-7 start. It doesn't offset the horrific defense, Glenn's mishandling of Justin Fields, all these different things. You can't ignore those things. And that's the biggest problem I have about
Wilkes,
it. Like,
Steve Wilkes too.
Like that. So it's like, listen, okay, like Sunday's game was their backups blew out our backups. It was unwatchable. It wasn't even competitive. And the problem I had with this approach for a long period of time, for 5 weeks of getting embarrassed, is what culture are you establishing in that locker room? What is your leadership here? Where you're basically losing. You're not competing. You see guys quitting. You see half-ass effort. That's your culture. Just lose. Just get through it. We'll try again next year. That's what you're establishing. That's what your leadership is. To the point where you look at Jermaine Johnson in the interview, he looks demoralized. Like, the guys that we thought were going to be the passionate leaders have all checked out, dude. Quincy Williams, Jermaine Johnson. The only guy that shows fight is Membu. It's the only guy that really cares. You literally see Jet players get their ass kicked after the whistle blows, get thrown on the ground. Teammates walk by, like, yeah, that sucks. Sucks to be you. They walk right past them. There's no pride, dude. Like, they lost a sense of pride about a month ago. And that's culture. That's what changes things. And we lost that too.
Yeah, like, I mean, you had that Falcons win, and then something changed because you had that Falcons win, and then it was blowout after blowout after blowout after blowout. And it's, I'm all for looking at the competition and being objective who we're playing, but we were losing to the Saints and the Dolphins. And, yeah, we played some good teams, but we got blown out against the Buffalo Bills backup. So, God, it's just such a place to be in, man. And
that's, but isn't that the biggest part of this problem? To Javid's point here, it's Glenn's biggest talking point was changing the culture here. We've got to change the culture here. And this is a perfect point. The same guys, these are the same guys that have checked out for 3 seasons in a row now. The same players that we believed and thought they're going to get better. Once the going got tough, they got going. They're part of you know what? It's not me. Like, to be honest, Breece Hall wants out. He doesn't want to be here. Quincy Williams doesn't want to be here. These guys don't want to be here. They're going to say the right things in their exit interviews because they don't want to embarrass the coach, because they like him. But they're not going to say, hey, man, this coach is terrible. I want out. But behind the scenes, like, get me out of here. This ain't going to work for me. So that'll be a more telling sign, too, when free agency starts and they don't, like, keeping Josh Myers, Jimmy Ruckert. Great, wonderful. Let's see these big name guys want to stay here. You know what I mean? I think
you can even argue why, like if you sit here right now and you say, you know what, instead of Breece Hall, I want to go with Kenneth Walker. I wouldn't push back and be like, what are you talking about? If you want to say, you know what, hey, you know what, let's look for some trade partners with Jamie and Sherwood this offseason. I'm not gonna look at you and be like, what are you talking about? Like 3 wins after a 5-win season, to me, just with the culmination of everything, I think there's just a handful of players that are untouchable, which is the rookies, obviously, the Membus of the world. You got Olu, you got Tippmann, you got Garrett. I'm totally fine if the Jets want to add draft picks by moving off of some of these players, by maybe signing replacements or trading for replacements or drafting their replacements. It just can't continue. Like, the losing cannot continue. And that comment that you pulled up before was, let me see. I don't know if I could find it here, just scrolling backwards, but yeah, like there's been kind of that mindset, that attitude for the last 3 seasons. And yeah. So it's not like it's a brand new thing with the Jets. Unfortunately, it feels like it's the worst it's been. But it was there last season. It was even there kind of wrapping up the end of the Zach Wilson era before Rodgers took over, right? Rodgers gets hurt, that Zach Wilson season. Like, you kind of felt like there were players like questioning everything in place then, then you have the Rodgers 5-win season. Now you're having it again this year. It just kind of feels like we just need a full-on reset. Reset.
And the other thing, too, what I keep going back to is this was a very physical training camp. Glenn changed the whole solid country club to a hard-nosed approach, more tackling, more this, more physicality, all this new regimen, and got no results. So now the players are like, you want us to buy in? We bought in. We embraced your new physical mindset, and we went 0-7, and we went 3-14. So what you're selling us didn't work, coach, and you start checking out. It's going to be a hard ass as long as you get results. Didn't get the results. That's another thing. So there's a lot of things here that are kind of alarming that he's got to overcome as he self-reflects over the next 3 days to change. And I don't know how you go about changing all these things that went wrong in a short period of time to say, I'm going to win 8 games this year and save my job.
Well, I think the light at the end of the tunnel, if there is one, is we at least have resources. We could be in the situation like the Atlanta Falcons, where they don't have a first round pick and they have $6 million in cap space. And we're looking at the squad saying, what can we do to get better? We don't have picks. We don't have a quarterback. We don't have cap space. Like, at least we do have option. We have a pathway to get better. But that's kind of that's what I'm clinging on to for now.
And we'll do one more because this show is running crazy late. We usually do an hour, so I apologize for that. K-Dude, first of all, thank you, man, for always joining us. Could it be that all the solid guys are just a poor fit for Glenn's scheme? AZ Thomas, Brownlee, Briggs, Membu, Mason Taylor, Moore all look decent. And that could be too. And the one thing we've talked about, Ian, is you need dogs, dude. You need guys that have a different mindset in this team. Like, they literally hate losing. Like, they are about winning, hard work, and getting the best out of each other day in and day out. Like, I could see just getting Alex Anzalone in here. And the one thing you wanted when Aaron Glenn came here was, who's his leaders? Who are his guys? Where Rex had Bart Scott and Jim Leonard, all these guys that instantly came in. And this is our system. Glenn didn't really do that. He kind of counted on Quincy Williams to be that guy, and Garrett and Sauce and all this. But I think he may have realized pretty quickly, like, these guys aren't that. That's why probably Sauce is gone, where it's like, we need this level. Because when Brownlee came, you automatically saw, like, dude, this guy's a fierce tackler. Briggs lighting people up. Harrison Phillips probably becoming a captain now. Mm-hmm. But the existing guys, like the Jermaine Johnsons, I don't mean to pick on him specifically, but like, you didn't see that same tenacity, that same like will to want to win and be here.
And that's what I mean. That's, if you want to look at encouraging signs, you can say that, like all the names that K-Dude just listed. Like, you can say, okay, well, the newcomers are actually showing up. The newcomers are performing. Everyone's been talking about Briggs. Everybody's been talking about Membu. Everybody's been talking about, Brownlee in this, is Brownlee perfect? Is he a top 5 slot corner? No, but he's definitely, like, you saw the impact that he had, right? I loved bringing Nick Folk back. I think we found a punt returner and a punter here in Austin McNamara. So, I think if you want to hang on to something roster-wise, at least the Jets it seems like they have like an archetype of player that they like and that they can identify from afar and say, okay, this is who we need, and bring them in, and they start having success. Unfortunately, it just still feels like it's a continuation of the last regime. Those are where the majority of the struggles are lying at or are with, along with the overall depth of the team not being good.
Here's a good question. Fellas, give me your dream coaching staff with who's available. I'll let you go first, man.
Yeah, John Harbaugh. Or coaching, I guess, coaching staff. So like OC and DC and all. I mean, well, I still am a big Brian Flores guy, but John Harbaugh is objectively better than Brian Flores. Because, he just brings organization. He brings stability. He brings structure. He brings a standard, a pedigree, right, of not only just how to work day to day, but also just a flat out pedigree of winning. Yep. And yes, you could push back and say, well, where's the playoff success recently? And you have Lamar Jackson and you have all these names and you didn't make the playoffs. You still look at Lamar Jackson or John Harbaugh from afar and say that's a pretty good coach. Like that is like, he has a lot of qualities that you just want in your leader, in your figurehead of an organization. Kind of reminds me of like when Andy Reid left Philly, where it's just kind of like time for a change, but you knew Reid was going to be landing on his feet, and you also knew that Philly was going to find, a really good option. So that's kind of, to answer your question, Harbaugh for me.
Yeah, Harbaugh, it's me. It's not even close. Harbaugh is a slam dunk for me. I would do that in a heartbeat and be happy for the next 10 years. I just think he's a true culture changer, a true leader. He can build the program, respect, credibility. Players will want to come here. To trickle down from bringing a guy like that is literally organizational change that we saw back when Parcells came here. It's the exact same thing, the exact same level. But again, with you hear about the rumors with like Brian Flores having a staff of Brian Flores, Dable, and Raheem Morris, like having like the dream team staff with the Raiders. Like, dude, sign me up for that too. I'm not opposed to that either. They're all upgrades. But for me, Harbaugh is the biggest one. And the last question, we'll give you an easy question to end this. Now, you know how I feel about this guy, but what are your thoughts on Carson Beck?
I honestly don't mind Carson. I mean, not in the first or second round. The Jets obviously don't have a third round pick. So we're probably talking round 4 to round 5. I don't mind Carson Beck. I really don't. But the way I'm kind of viewing this Jets team right now is we're not good. We need a lot of help. We have a lot of team needs, and we don't have depth. So I don't really like the idea of just taking a quarterback just because I'm like, I like the guy, but I'm not in love with him. Like, if I'm not in love with him, I would rather just use that draft pick on just trying to help bolster the team. Now, of course, you can argue, okay, well, is a round 5 pick going to come in and be a go-to starter? Probably not. And I would agree with you there. So, if we're talking quarterback in round 5, 6, or 7, I'm cool with it. But if you're taking one at 33, dude, do the first pick in the second round or 44,
Yep.
like that's an investment.
Yep.
Because like you're passing on a bunch of really, really good players there. And then B, do you stick with, like, if he doesn't play all year and you roll into next year, do you really want to go into next year saying like, okay, we have our quarterback plan. We just got this guy in round 2, even though we don't have a for sure answer. That's why I really like how the Saints handled it with Rattler. It was like so from Rattler early on, like some good, some bad, but they're like, okay, you know what? We're kind of getting at the point of the season where we need to figure out what Shuck is like in regular season. Live bullets are flying. We feel like the competition is close enough between those guys. Let's just go with Shuck. Even though Rattler wasn't like unplayably bad, but they went with Tyler, and I mean, it worked out for him so far. So that's the thing with the second round. Second and third round is like they're not as good as these top end guys, but like they have the same expectations as a first round player because of where they're picked and because of the players that you're passing over, theoretically speaking. So
that's where I'm at. Fourth round, like I don't take chances in the first 3 rounds. That quarterback's got to be a guy you really, really believe in. And then after that, you're like, all right, the asset isn't as important as the other ones. I'll take that flyer. K-Dude, thank you, man. He has, no matter who the coach is, Glenn, Harbaugh, you guys are still awesome. We're going to be here for every bump of the ride. This is probably the most hated stream we've ever had between me and Ian. And it's honestly, I put you in a tough spot, dude. I completely, because I'm so frustrated and so fed up. And I think I know what's going to happen, that we're delaying the inevitable. So I took it out on you, and the ability for the Jets to possibly just ignore opportunities like a Harbaugh or Stefanski or anything else drives me absolutely insane. Especially if you watch the press conference today. You're like, this guy, it's like the more he talks, the more I'm like, I have no faith. So I apologize, dude. This was pent up all day today. I thought I saw the news.
Well, no, well, first of all, one thing I was going to say before, you can be a losing team, right? Like look at Stefanski, right? This guy has won like 7 games over the last 2 to 2.5 years here. Something crazy. Like his record is not good. And Stefanski's almost like, because people say like Glenn's a defensive mind and his defense sucks. Like that's a major issue. Kevin is like the only thing that's keeping that Browns team together is the defense. It's like a top 5 unit, and it's like Kevin's offense is the reason why it's struggling. So you have a head coach that's losing a bunch. Your side of the Kevin's side of the football is the reason why the team is losing. They haven't found a quarterback, even though they've tried multiple times. They don't have a ton of wide receivers. They have injuries up front on the offensive line. And it's like people still want Kevin. Why? I think because at least you can tell there's organization on Sundays. You can tell, like, yes, again, they're losing. They're not a good team. They're picking pretty much top 5 to top 10 every year, which is crazy to think about. But you can at least tell from afar, like, okay, there's a bit of organization there. Whereas with the Jets, it's like even early on when everybody was healthy and Quinn and Sauce were on the roster, it was just like, where exactly is this organization? You kind of felt like there were times where they were just shooting themselves in the foot, like before the half or penalties or clock management or whatever it may be, dropping interceptions, poor quarterback play. So I think that's kind of the difference between 2 losing head coaches. It's the eye test, right? It's how these teams look. But no, I think maybe I misconstrued how I was my feelings earlier on. I have a lot of questions about Aaron Glenn, but I do think it's important to actually, again, look at things from other fan bases standpoints.
Yep.
And I think if we were to ask a Giant fan right now, like, hey, who's your top 3 coaching candidates? In no world would they say John Harbaugh, yeah, I don't want that guy.
Yep.
He's terrible. There's not one fan, not one. I mean, Glenn isn't even fired, and we're freaking out about over, over him. So, who knows what's happening in Miami? Who knows what's happening with Tampa fans? Let alone the 6 that already are looking for a head coach. So, yeah, I have a lot of questions about Aaron Glenn, but I just don't think it's a shoo-in that we fire Glenn. Harbaugh's walking in the door the following week.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a very interesting couple of days. And as it plays out, if Tomlin becomes available or LaFleur becomes available or McDermott becomes available, all gets interesting where, like, at some point you got to be like, you know what? This is an upgrade that we can't ignore. Like, you got to shoot your shot sometimes. So we'll see what happens. Again, this was probably the craziest stream we've had because I was the minute I saw the Harbaugh news, I was amped up. I'm like, we've got to make a change because we're going in the wrong direction. So we'll see what the Jets do. We'll see if Aaron Glenn makes changes to his staff as he evaluates everything. The Jets make any changes, will the coaches become available? One thing we can guarantee, Ian, is never a dull moment with this team. Ever. Never a dull moment.
Never. So real quick before we head on out, who's your number one DC choice? Because that should be done before the end of the month.
I mean, I like Wink too, man. I think Wink could be a perfect fit for this team. I like a lot of guys. I just like Jim Leonard's a great idea. Like the thing is, like, how many of these guys are going to be here for 1 year, get a head coaching job if they do well too, and they'll leave us. There's a lot of things too. I mean, I like Wink. I like Jim Leonard. I like Jonathan Gannon. I like a lot of these guys. Like, who's your number one?
No
first timers though. They've got to be established guys. Been there, done that before. Though I'll say that.
Okay, so Leonard would be.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I guess Leonard did have the experience in college, but I don't know if you would, you specifically would count that. But I guess Al Harris would fall into that, first 100%. Year.
Yep.
That
first time. I'd rather have that. Like ideally, look at what Brian Flores did with the Vikings, man. Like, week in and week out, you get a great performance. I'm concerned that Glenn won't hire that experienced guy out of fear for his job. These guys taking over for him. That's just me being cynical as a Jet fan. Not just me being cynical, dude. That's just the way I have it. Like he would never hire Rex Ryan to be his defensive coordinator because he'd be fired. Like 6 weeks in, fans will want Rex to take over the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would you is Wink your top guy, or who would you look to?
Wink is a top guy, realistically speaking. Like if news comes out in a week that the Jets are hiring Martindale, I can see that. Yeah, and that would make sense to me. I'm interested in Raheem Morris. I'm interested in Jim Schwartz, but I don't really think that one's realistic all that much, just because, again, like if you're a team that needs a DC, you're probably going to be calling Schwartz.
Yep.
Now, Jonathan Gannon, Kyler Murray reunion over in New York.
It's not me, dude. Like at this point, you know what it is? You've beaten me down, dude. Where I'm already worried about the Jets ruining Dante Moore. So I'm like, just give me 2 years of Kyler Murray. By then, Aaron Glenn will be fired, and we can draft our quarterback next year. That's where I'm at. Like I've already given up. Like I'm already like, give me Malik Willis, give me Kyler Murray, draft a quarterback in the 4th round. We'll tank this year, and then next year we draft our quarterback with a new coach that can actually coach him up.
Dude, the thing that we were talking about before, again, it's just disheartening. It's just like we all knew that everybody knew that the Jets were going to be a bad team this year. But if the bar was set so low and Glenn just still couldn't get there, he still couldn't get to that 5-6 win mark. I mean, would the vibe be completely different if we, let's just say, beat the Steelers week 1 and in the Denver Broncos, where we lost literally by 7 points or 6 points or something in the middle of the year, and we had 5 wins compared to 3? Like, would the vibe around Glenn be a little bit different? I think yes. Right. Or even if you want to throw on top of it again, that Carolina Panthers loss 13-6, where the quarterbacks were just unplayable, sack after sack, pick after pick. And that was a game where the defense showed up, but the offense was just completely anemic. Like, and the Jets finished with 6 wins. Not even going to change anything about December in that Bills game. Is the perception around Glenn a little bit different? But again, we'll never know.
I mean, if the Jets got I know this is going to sound crazy, maybe 2 interceptions this year, maybe you feel better about it as your head coach, defensive back. You know what I mean? Like former defensive back. Like get some interceptions would be nice. If your leading receiver had more than 400 yards receiving, probably feel a little bit better about things. Little things like that, man. If you didn't see Will McDonald, Jermaine Johnson regress, probably feel like it's not like one thing we could pinpoint that this was bad. It's a series of things that were bad. You're like, Jesus Christ, like this is just, it's just whatever. Yeah, they broke me, dude. Like you guys, if you guys have followed me, dude, this is the most negative I've ever been since covering this team. It really is. And this is where I'm at. I'm with Jonathan. I have no hope as long as he's here. I don't. I genuinely don't do it. He's got to pull some rabbits out of the hat with coaching staff changes, hit free agency and surprise me there, and then hope Muji drafts well, which is a lot of things you need to go in your favor to succeed next year. And I don't know. I think the odds are stacked against them.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, yeah, they got to hit free agency hard. Not saying be reckless with money and overpay guys by tons and sign just to sign players, but you need some serious talent. And again, luckily we at least have the opportunity to do that. I will say.
So now look at the bright side. Tonight we got it all out of our system. So next week, 7:00 on Ian's channel, we're going to talk about Mendoza versus Dante Moore. We're going to talk about free agency. We're going to get rid of this. All negativity's out because on Let's Talk Jets, this channel, I can curse and get crazy. On your channel, we stay professional. We get like nice and calm and relaxed. We talk like we're going to be talking like quarterbacks next time and how we can make Kyler Murray a star in New Jersey and all these things.
One thing, dude, this is going to be just an eventful off season, right? Because like there's just so much anger right now, just with just how bad everything has been, that you feel like, well, at least I feel like, from afar, that there's a level of urgency where that year one, no more excuses.
Yep.
Not having a quarterback, no more excuses. Not having enough talent, no, you're now entering year two.
Yep.
Right? They added some awesome players this past cycle, right, with Membu and some of these guys. But now is the time to really take that next step.
Yeah, and you got to come out with a concise plan, with a blueprint of like, and you can see the impact this guy's gonna have on the roster as well, too. Like leader, fast linebacker, hitter, like all these different things. So again, next week, 7:00, I'll be calm, I'll be relaxed. Oh, you have predictions for the games this weekend? Your playoff predictions?
Playoffs for college, college games, or for the pros?
Pros.
So I think I got the Chargers over the Pats.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you do have the cross country thing, but I cannot see Jim Harbaugh getting bounced in round one versus an inexperienced Patriots team.
Okay.
Drake made his first playoff. I got the Chargers over the Pats. Trying to think AFC. I mean, Bills, Jags, I think that game is going to be a lot closer than what kind of the expectation is. I haven't seen any of the lines yet, but I would not be surprised if Jacksonville maybe jumps out to an early lead and then Buffalo has to claw their way back into it. And then it's like a super tight fourth quarter. I think Houston's going to beat Pittsburgh for the AFC, at least, from my perspective. I just think the defense is just going to be too overwhelming.
No, I completely agree. I'm in the same boat, same exact thing. I think Houston's the team that nobody wants to play. I think the Bills beat the Jaguars, though. Patriots losing would be interesting, though. I'd like to see that. That'd be fun to see.
So do you have New England over LA?
I do.
You do? Okay. Okay, well, so NFC. Yeah, let's hear your pitch for the NFC.
What are the games? It's Panthers. Who do they play?
Panthers.
They got no shot. They're gonna get smoked.
Yeah, to the Panthers shock us all.
And then it's what? Eagles. What is it? Eagles.
Man, Carolina just feels like they kind of feel like the 7-win, what was it, the 7 or 8-win Seattle Seahawks with Carroll and Marshawn Lynch when they beat the Saints at home, where like everybody picked New Orleans, and I think that was actually the game where Marshawn Lynch had the crazy run.
Yep. So you got Rams, Panthers. We'll take Rams, Packers, Bears. I'm gonna go Bears.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Bears too.
Bills, Jaguars, and then we got, what is the other one? Chargers,
Niners, Eagles.
Oof, that's a good game. That's a good game, man.
I'm going Philly.
I think I'm gonna go 49ers because Eagles haven't played the same, man. They rested a lot of guys.
Boy Hurts, man. Your boy Hurts.
I know. I like Hurts, but the Eagles haven't played well. Chargers, Pete. This is good, interesting matchups. I'll go 49ers and Texans, Steelers. I'd definitely take the Texans. So,
One thing, dude, we actually didn't cover in the stream is the Jalen Hurts potential trade.
That's next week.
If Philly gets bounced.
No, I'm all over it. Trust me, man. I have a list of things that I'm waiting for this team to lose. I have a list of stuff for you, dude. You're gonna be like, what has he been doing for the last 2 weeks? You wait.
I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped.
So an hour and 40 minutes, maybe our actual, okay, we could do this. Super Bowl matchup prediction.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to change it going into like, so I make my Super Bowl prediction right before week 1. I don't like to change it. I don't know how I feel about it now, given the Micah Parsons injury, but I had Buffalo over Green Bay.
I'm going to go Rams, Texans.
Okay.
Little curveball. Texans defense is sick, dude. They make everybody look like they're just mediocre. So if CJ Stroud can put together some good, just manage the game, they're going to be dangerous. And I think that the Rams are just ridiculously good, man. They lose fluky games.
Yeah, I don't. You know what's so weird about the Rams? It's like they always have these like clunky performances in the regular season, like just randomly they'll get blown out, and it just kind of makes I don't know. It's one of the weirdest things. But speaking of Houston, or man, I was gonna bring up a really good. I had a question I was gonna ask you. I forgot it, man. Oh yeah. So speaking of offensive minds, right? Speaking of offensive minds, there's like, if we think back just a couple of years ago, there was an offensive mind that everybody wanted that was on the Houston Texans coaching staff that just fell off the face of the earth. He's with, I believe, with the Dolphins right now.
Yep.
Bobby Slowick, young OC, calling plays, developing Stroud, rookie year success. Everybody wanted Slowick. He interviewed for the Jets head coaching job a year ago.
Yep.
But he got fired. And obviously they're doing their thing this season with Nick Caley, but it's just interesting how guys like just stalk and go up like crazy, then just bottom out over the course of 1 year. And, I don't know, like if you look down at your phone in a week and the Jets are bringing in Slowick as that offensive analyst, I don't know, something to think about, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, sad thing is it'd be an upgrade. It'd actually be an improvement. That's the sad thing. So
at this point, yeah, I think it's hard to find guys that would actually hurt the team.
Well, an hour and 40 minutes. No idea how. A lot of chaos. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all the super chats. Next week, Ian's channel, I'll be my best behavior. It'll be calm. It'll be quiet. It'll be educated and professional. We're talking about Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza, and the reasons why Aaron Glenn will succeed. We'll break that down next week. That's going to be exciting. And that's it. Enjoy the games. Prediction for Indiana, Oregon?
Indiana.
They whooped their ass.
Damn. Okay.
I think so. It's me ass kicking. Thank you, guys. Enjoy your night. Maybe Aaron Glenn gets fired tomorrow. We get some new news, but I highly doubt it, unfortunately.
J-E-T-S,